Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Jack, and I want to welcome you to my very first podcast called Jack Talks Back. And in this episode, it's actually just me going into a very deep thought of how I see the world and how I think we can make it a little bit better. I'd love to hear your perspective and view. And sorry if it's a little bit dry, but if you grab a cup of water and every single time I repeat a word, just take a sip. You should make it through. Enjoy. All right. Is everybody in yet? Oh, it's about to fall. How's it going, everyone? My name is Jack Shuck. I want to welcome you to my podcast called Jack Talks Back. It's been something I've been wanting to start for a while now. It's probably been about 2 to 3 years since I bought all the stuff and everything for it, all the mics and everything. Then I just never ended up doing it because I wanted to do it with a lot of my friends to get it started with them, but then we always kept on getting procrastinated. We always procrastinated and always did something else, and pretty much never got everything all connected. And I realized, obviously, when you want to do something that you actually really want to do it, you have to do it yourself and get it started. And I'm not blaming any of my friends because all my friends are the bestest friends I've ever had in my life, and I'm so happy I got to meet them all. And there's so many people who I've met in my life that I've connected with, and I'm very fortunate that I'm able to call them whenever I want and be able to talk to them, because that's the best thing I can really do. I love talking, and I love asking questions and seeing how people are doing. And I feel like that's what we need to start doing more, is asking a lot of questions and seeing how people are doing and if we can help them in some other type of way. Because that's pretty much why I wanted to start this, especially now, because the way how the world is really going right now is very different than what we're used to the past 30 something years or 100 years. We were formed our country as the United States because we came united, and we built an amazing country out of it, from the good and the bad and the bad and the good. And I think we can obviously learn a lot from our mistakes and everything to keep things growing and going. But as of right now, I've never seen so much of a big divide in our country. Right now, I definitely think it's getting better, but from when it was in 2019 and 2020, I just saw the whole world flipped. And I was like, whoa, why is everyone just arguing and bickering over politics? It's crazy. We can't let politics really control our life. I feel like we should really, politics kind of got to a weird thought process with me, because instead of the government helping people, they were just kind of giving them a little bit of things to kind of get benefit out of them, for them to get stronger and get them more powerful, instead of really working on the actual people who are voting them into office. But that's just, my opinion. I believe that some people who are run for office have, the proper morals and know what's right and wrong, and they do want to make a change and want to make a difference. And that's pretty much what I want to try to do with this podcast, because I don't want to be the divided states of America. I want to bring it back to the United States of America and get that to stretch out through the rest of the world and whatnot. And I feel like it really all starts with us. And when I say us, I mean you and I and whatnot. It's very interesting, because if we look at our country like it's a body, or look at our world like it's a body, and if there's a lot of conflict in the world, that's a lot of arguing, your body is kind of fighting itself, which is causing inflammation in the body, which if there's too much inflammation in the body, it can cause cancer, it can cause nerve damage, and things can happen. And I feel like if we look at the world and us like that, and try to go to the root cause of it and whatnot, people think cancer, for example, they think it's pretty much incurable. But if we look at cancer as a parasite, then I think we're able to beat it. And because it's very interesting, because cancer is like a living cell in the body that gets formed and created all together and create like a big thing there. And it becomes its own life form inside your body, but it doesn't know that it's going to die when you die, and it's going to keep on sucking you out until you're done. And I feel like that's what we're creating right now. And it's kind of like there's too much. We're kind of creating too much sin in the world at the same exact time. Like, if you know me, like I'm a Christian guy. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I feel like if it wasn't for him, then we wouldn't have curiosity. Like, people know the story about Jesus coming down, dying for us, and they really didn't know. I feel like they still don't know the root reason of him doing that. And he just came down to expose the truth. He even exposed the churches and exposed the teachings that's not what that verse meant. That's not what this verse means. This is actually what it means. And I think the morals and everything are 100% there of what he taught. Like, I see Jesus as pretty much was like the first hippie almost. And he created worlds that people didn't know that even existed in their own heads. And it's like, you might be against religions and stuff like that, and against the Bible, but against something that you probably never even picked up or read. And if you look into it, you look at the 10 Commandments and everything like that, you would think okay, these are actually, they make sense. These are good laws. They're like, all right, maybe there's that one that sex before marriage and everything. Yeah, sex before marriage, that's kind of lame. But if you think about it, if you're married right now, wouldn't you wish that you could have waited for that person? Or say you wish that you didn't have to go through all these random heartaches and everything like that to find this person that you're looking for right now, and it could have been a lot better. And if you think otherwise, saying oh no, I like my experiences with all crazy women and stuff like that. I don't think they're all crazy. I think women are amazingly beautifully crazy, just like how my thought process is too, a little bit everywhere. And but I feel like if you don't agree with that, then you might not be with the right person that you're with right now. Because I feel like hopefully one day, if I find the love of my life and everything, that I wouldn't want to be with anyone else. I've had 3 really bad breakups and everything in my life. Man, one was short, one was kind of long, one was longer, but you learn from those things, and you don't give yourself up to them. I think that's the biggest thing. When sex is involved, you're giving yourself up to that person. And when you give up yourself to that person and they created heartache, and you realize that they weren't the right person, and you pretty much created trauma and your own self and everything. And it's pretty much what I did. I gave my heart out to pretty much everyone I dated. I have made mistakes in them and everything like that, and I think there's reason to learn from your mistakes and not do them again. And I think it really all starts with forgiving. And for what I see with the world right now, I think we need to start forgiving each other more than ever. Because it gets kind of interesting if we start really thinking about forgiveness. And it's I can never just forgive somebody just like that. But imagine if someone's murdering the whole entire country and everything. For them to stop, would you forgive them and everything? That's one of my biggest questions. Because the person might be thinking they're doing the right thing in their own eyes, but then once they realize that they're doing the wrong thing, they might be too far. They think they can't get out, and they have to try to keep on covering up what they've already done. And I feel like if we let people know, say, hey, no, if you learned that is wrong and you want to stop, but you think it's too late for you to stop, it's never too late for you to stop. I feel like that we should forgive everybody if they actually have the right morals now than ever and realize what they did wrong. And I really believe that could be one of the best answers. I say, like, you might not be in trouble now or anything like that, and you keep on doing the wrong thing, but if you want to make a change and change yourself now before, things get really bad for you, then do it now, because, like, if we see it all start to stop, then I feel like forgiving you would be the best thing. And it's hard to say, and just because there has to be a balance of a lot of things. And I think that is kind of creates the balance of, like, realization of that what you know was wrong and whatnot. And I think the biggest thing is really, even though people might forgive you and you still feel like you're downing yourself, you probably just have to forgive yourself and everything. Like, I know what I thought during 2020, the things I was saying, the things I was doing, I thought I was doing everything right. And to a certain extent, it might have been right. But at the same exact time, I wasn't having an understanding of why people were not listening to, like, what other people were saying to each other and stuff like that. Especially, like, when I was having a conversation with certain people, they would, just judge something off 3 words without letting you finish letting you finish the conversation, or letting you finish your thought process of what do you think, what's going on. Like, they hear these certain words and they're already writing you off. I'm like, no, hey, hold on. I'll listen to you if you listen to me, and we have a real conversation. And I feel like that's what we're not doing. We're not listening, and we're not asking enough why questions to find the right answer. Like, I feel like you have to keep on asking why till you find the right answer. That's just my opinion. And I feel like that's how you learn, because I feel like you have to fail in life and everything multiple times to find the right answer and everything, and for you to be happy. One of the best things I think my grandmother ever said, my dad always says it all the time, is just it makes me smile, because how much of an amazing person she was. And she wasn't the smartest, but she asked some very tough questions to a lot of people and everything. And one of the things that she said to somebody was, like, she found out the guy was, like, super successful in something and everything like that. And she would always love to say this to them. Oh, you must have made a lot of mistakes. Because, like, you definitely learn a lot faster from your mistakes and whatnot, in my opinion, because you don't want to make that mistake again, twice or 3 times. That's why I feel like failing is not bad, because if you know my track record in school, I failed all the time. And I kept on getting the worst grades. But at the very end of it, at the end of the year, I always caught up and finished. And even getting, some of my licenses when I was in real estate, getting my insurance license, and right now getting my mortgage license and everything too, just to kind of learn all the doorways of a lot of things in my industry, what I'm doing right now. Like, I failed my real estate license probably 5 or 6 times, and I didn't quit. Like, I once I started it, I wanted to finish it. And same thing with my insurance license. I didn't realize how hard that was going to be, because I put everything off until, like, the last minute, learned it all by myself, and writing notebooks on notes of things I had no idea what I was even writing down, until I really figured it out by watching videos and just kind of, like, seeing a different video aspect of it, reading it, writing it down, saying it out loud, learning it that way. And you have to do things like that. I feel like life is such a learning lesson, and at the end of the day, there's going to be questions that we won't be able to find, and that's what I'm happy about, because, like, there's so many things for us to learn, for us to ask questions of, because that's what's so great about our world and everything. Because if we just keep on doing that and striving, then it's gonna be limitless. And I think that's where it starts out as. I think it really starts out with us, with bettering ourselves, bettering our health with real things, working out, going for walks, have an amazing companion, and with your dog, your wife, or anyone who's there, and they understand. Like, I love my dog because like he's actually the only dog I think I've ever had that doesn't bark. He whines, but he doesn't. He's silent. He never even whines really, but it's like he's never found his voice. But he looks at me with these eyes and everything every single day, wakes me up staring at me, and I feel his presence there, and to let me know like, hey, let's go for a walk. Let's go do this. And I used to like hate going for walks. But now when I go for walks, now everything comes out more clearly. It's kind of like when you're in the shower, you have like the best thought process in the shower. You never want to get out of it. You're so comfortable in there and everything. And I think that's how walks are for me, in my opinion. Because like you're constantly moving. And I feel like that's what we need to do all the time. We just need to constantly move. Like, I feel like that we are the real project of AI that God created. Like, our bodies and everything are like combustion engines and everything like that. And we can heal ourselves. We can fix ourselves by if we break a bone and whatnot, it grows right back. Like it just repairs itself. I won't say grows right back, but you know what I mean. But I think of something like that. Like if we think of ourselves as like a machine, and knowing that we can make ourselves better and make a better product every single day of ourselves, then I think that is limitless. And that's how my thought process is, because trust me, I've been there before, not doing anything, sitting on the couch, always being on my phone, and getting distracted from the things that were really happening right in front of me. Like, once I realized I can control what's in front of me, I can't control what they're showing me. I can only control what I can put in my body. I can only control what I'm doing to my body. I don't want to force it on really anyone else or anything like that. I do want to open up some people's eyes to create curiosity more in their heads. Because I did see this one study. It was very fascinating. This one study was like how probably, I forget what the percentage was, but it was a big number, like how not that many people can hear the thoughts in their head. They kind of just go around in life and be like an NPC. And I feel like they still have that voice in their head, but they're not wanting to hear it, or they don't know how to hear it. And like in my head, it's, oh my gosh, it's so loud. Like, that's why I wanted to start this, because of how many thoughts I have in my head. It's been driving me crazy because I need to get it out. And there's so many things I've learned in life that I feel like that a lot of people can definitely take as a real learning experience and learning lesson, and learn from my mistakes and from other mistakes that I learned. Because I always said, like, yeah, you can make a lot of mistakes and everything and learn from it, but if you can also learn from other people's mistakes and everything too, from the right and wrong and everything, so we don't go through that same exact thing. Like, same thing, like what I was saying, like with forgiveness and everything. Like, I think we should definitely like forgive people and forget what they did, but don't forget the event of what happened. And I really feel like that's going to be our best thing, is really forgiveness. And that was one of the amazing things that Jesus said, like he forgave everyone, like it didn't matter who it was. He never did anyone wrong or anything like that. He let people know that, like, don't worry. Like, if you believe in the things I say, not me, Jesus, then he'll guide you to the right, proper place that you should be in life, and for it all to make sense. Like, for him to come down and expose a lot of the things that were going wrong with the world, that we're just tearing ourselves apart of, like, instead of like manipulating ourselves and manipulating the law, then manipulating the Bible and everything like that to use it for their own benefit instead of like really of everyone's benefit. Because I think it's amazing that Jesus came down and said that we are all equal, and in a certain way that we are, but like it depends what you do. You know what I mean? Like, am I equal to a guy that's 225 pounds who works out every single day? That's a football player who's making complete, just tackles every single day. Am I equal to that guy? No, not right now. Or like, you know what I mean? But like, I could be, if I wanted to, I could work out all day long, do his drills, and get like almost a similar mind aspect of what they're doing. And it's all about training. And I think right now we just need to really train ourselves to better ourselves in whatever way we can do to better it. I think right now the best things what we can do is really focusing on ourselves, focusing on our health, focusing on our mental health, and not to be afraid to ask for help when you're at that lowest point in life. Because when you're at that lowest point in life, it's hard to see things. But like, if there's enough darkness, the light will show. And that's what happened with me. I was surrounded by darkness. I was creating in my own head. And not just my own head, I was creating it outside the real world of things I was doing that was not right probably. And I paid the consequences for it. And I accept that, and I forgave myself. And I think anyone can do that too. And that's why I really want to start this, because like I feel like a lot of people are very similar, and a lot of people might have the same exact questions, but they just have it in their head, but no one's really talking about it. Like I was very lucky to have two parents growing up, even though, they argued all the time when I was, I think, after 10 years old. But in the very beginning, they were great. Everything was great in the very beginning, as everything always is. But then, poor communication happened. And whenever they couldn't really communicate with each other, and so just one's yelling, one's trying to communicate, then it goes back and forth, there was no real true balance of it all. And I think there really has to be a balance. No matter how much we stretch it apart, I feel like we can pull ourselves back together before it really gets too late. And that's like what I see with the world right now, of how I believe like the world and our country and everything is like our human bodies. It's whatever it's telling us, we should listen to it and try to fix it. And that's why I really believe that like we're creating this cancer, we're creating this giant sin in the world, and the only way we can repair it is really working together and forgive each other and ignore the things that the person has done wrong, but pay attention to the events that were wrong that we can learn from. That's why like what's so great about history, and we learn from the things that happen in history that we don't have to go through again. Like the slavery thing. Like people always want to talk about like slavery stuff. I'm like, man, but like I don't see it as much of a bigger issue right now. Like in America, I think if we look at everywhere else in the world, slavery is still going on. It's like you look at my iPad that I'm recording this on right now, or the iPhone that you have in your pocket. You have a lithium battery in your pocket. Do you know how that is mined? You know what I mean? You see who's out there, who's literally mining these kids mining these things on the sides like of mountains and hills and everything like that, inhaling these fumes just so for you can have an iPhone to go on Instagram, to scroll through pictures and dwell on life, wondering why you can't do that, but you can. And I think there could be a balance of getting rid of slavery if we just start really focusing on doing it majority all ourselves, and all of us really working together as a team. And that's just really what I want to envision and everything, because I think it could truly happen. And but it's just very interesting to me, because I know it doesn't have to be like this, and it's like that with everybody. Like have an argument with somebody, but can you be civil afterwards? I think that's like the biggest thing. Like you might have your beliefs, I have my beliefs, but that doesn't mean you and I have to hate each other, have to try to destroy each other. Like I think that's like the biggest thing. And I think there's common ground. I think that's why there's, That's why there's like everything in life that really goes with each other. Like the circle of life from The Lion King. There's a circle of life. It's just going to keep on going around and around and around. And it's just like fashion with clothes. You know, one day it's in style, one day it's not. But guess what? Here it comes back. It comes back again. And I think that's what we're getting right now with what we're seeing. Like, I think we're just tired of the fighting. And we just have to really just have to understand that we just need to forgive and forget what they did, but not the event. But I might have said that multiple times already, but I just really believe that that's really the truth. And that's what's so great about, you know, God. I think if we look at all the religions and everything like that, I think it all connects to one God, really. Like, it all has to start with one big form to create something, I feel like. And he's so funny sometimes because I sit down in my room and I just look around and I was like, man, like, God has given me such an interesting life. And it's kind of, if you look back on a lot of things are comical. You know, that's what's so great about comedians. Like, I think it was Eric Weinstein when he was talking with Jordan Peterson, like, or Jordan Peterson, or one of the two. But they were talking about like how laughter, you comprehend when you laugh. So you comprehend when you have emotion. And I think a lot of people comprehend when they're sad, they're angry, and that's why they dwell like on the past, because it's hard for them to get over it instead of like moving on from it and just forgetting about it and forgiving it. Like, I feel like we shouldn't dwell on the past. We should just keep on trying to strive forward and what's happening right now, right in front of us right now. Because you might see all these crazy things on TV and everything, and you think it's part of your life, but then go to your job, you know, you go to your house, you go to your family. That's not happening there, you know? Like, I think all these things can be tools for us to really learn from it all. Especially AI. People think AI could be the devil, and I think it could turn into the devil. But at the same time, I think we can use it really more of a benefit for a lot of things. As long as we don't put AI in our bodies. I feel like once we put it in our hands or in our head, then that's when we're going to lose complete consciousness, and you're not going to be who you are, be who the person who you want to be. You're going to want to be the person who's alive, who's feeling things, who's gone through emotion, who just experienced real life things. Like, when you're seeing these things on TV, it's not real life. You're not touching it, you know? Like, I love the aspect of how advanced technology is getting, and it's getting great. You know, it's an amazing thing, and I think it can really dumb down a lot of people. Then I think it can make a lot of people smarter, you know, by asking a lot of questions, because it is very cool to have like ChatGPT and have it not Google, but like look up all the information that you have over the question that you ask. And I was reading a lot about Albert Einstein and stuff like that, and I was asking questions of ChatGPT about it. Because Albert Einstein's very interesting because he's one of the smartest people who ever lived. And I was always fascinated with him because we have the same birthday on March 14th. So, and if you know March 14th, that's 314. It's Pi Day. It's pretty much like an infinite number and everything. And to think that, like, I don't want to say I want to compare myself to Albert Einstein, but I do want to compare myself to some thinkers who just constantly think about everything. And sorry if you hear my dog right there, but I feel like we do need thinkers, you know what I mean? Like, thinkers and doers. I think people need to listen, learn, then speak. You know, like, once you do that and actually really listen to everything and comprehend it and have an understanding, if you don't know, then ask why. That's just what I get out of it. And but what's so interesting, what Albert Einstein thought about, you know, religion and science. He said, what did he say? It was like, science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. It could be the other way around, but it was very interesting because like once you combine the morals of, religion that we learned from all the right and wrong things that we've done in life, I think that's what really the Bible is really all about. It's all about experiences that people have gone through, and they learn from the wrong things, and they want to just show people what is right, what they saw is right. Because if you read, like, there's a lot of imperfect people in the Bible, but then they found God and their life completely changed because they realized that someone was bigger than them and whatnot. And at the very end of the day, that you're going to be with them. And it's very interesting because I really believe in that. I believe if we really believe in the morals of what we have from religion, and especially like the Ten Commandments of Christianity, and go by those things and combine it with science and physics, things that make sense of that nature and everything too, then I think we're going to have one of the craziest experiences of life than we would ever know. Like that's what's so great about life, if we can combine the yin and the yang like that instead of like the good and the bad. But like we have so much history that we know now that we can just definitely learn from it all. And I just hope that we do. There's always this, I don't know if I said this earlier or I said this in my head, but like, I did say this, but learn from other people's mistakes, not just learning from your own. I feel like we have so much history now that we can see the right and the wrong clear as day. But that's just, it's my opinion. And I have a feeling a lot of people can maybe think the same exact thing. What really opened up my eyes and jolted it up was really just like wanting to find God as much as I could, or that there was someone else out there. I've always felt like there was someone else out there. And I was always looking, and I realized I didn't have to look far. Pretty much I just had to look behind me or just look in my heart, and he was there. And I'm very fortunate that all my life lessons I've had from all the heartaches, of all the things I've done wrong in life, all the things I did wrong on purpose to try to benefit myself of. Like I'm nowhere near perfect. I've done so many things wrong in life, and that's what makes me think that a person who's done so many things wrong in life can do so many good things in life because they've been through it. Like I've been through so many things with my parents arguing all the time. I'm so happy that, they work things out as much as they can. They're civil now. And that's what makes me think like, all of us can be civil too. And it's just really just having an understanding and really loving people. And when I go to church, I see that. When I go to concerts, I see that, especially certain type of concerts. Like we can go to a football game. I want to give you two examples. You can go to a football game. You're mixing two teams going to one, so no wonder you're going to have conflict with each other. There's nothing wrong with that because it's competition. And that's a different type of field. But with concerts and everything, like you're going there for one band or one person. So a lot of people are going to have a lot of similarities and a lot of things in common from those type of things. Like I love the band called Fish. I love the band called Goose, and especially the Grateful Dead and everything like that. I think they opened up a lot of people's eyes for the good and like have a lot of realization. Sorry if you hear my stomach growling. I like to fast throughout the day and eat later on. But when I went to my first Fish concert, it was at Madison Square Garden during Baker's Dozen. It was the last Saturday, I think. The last Saturday that they had. And I went with one of my really good friends named Dave, who was one of my roommates. And man, he was one of my best friends. I'm so happy that him and I were friends, and it was great because he showed me a different world I didn't get to see. And when we went to the Fish concert, I literally was watching them one 4th of July, like online. And I was like, holy cow, I stayed up all night watching the whole concert. And I was completely hungover and everything the next day. I never forget my friend Ryan McKinney. I don't know if you, maybe, yeah. Hopefully you don't get mad at me for saying your full name. But, Scott. I remember when he opened up my door when I was completely trashed. Not trashed, I was hungover. I was tired because I stayed up all night watching the Fish concert. It was the Hampton Coliseum concert, and when they played that song called Taking Care of Business, it really opened up my eyes. I'm like, yeah, I got to take care of business. Yeah, I get to work. You got to like really figure this out. And that's not one of their songs. But, I always call them like the copycat band. They can bring back songs and sometimes, make them sound better or bring back the memory, the feeling of that song and whatnot when the first time you heard it. And that's what's so great, I think, about Trey Anastasio, who the lead guitarist is. Oh, but back to what I was saying. When Ryan opened up my door, he says, so how was your first Fish concert from just watching it online? I was like, I understand now. And I thought it was funny because, like, after that, I got hooked. I wanted to go see them so bad. I was like, Dave, when's the next concert? He said, well, they're actually playing at New York. They're doing a Baker's Dozen. I was like, I don't know what the hell that is, but let's go. And we charged it. It was really cool. We got in my 4Runner. We drove all the way there to New York City from Virginia Beach. Got to see, on our way back, got to see my grandmother and my grandfather and everything. And she thought it was crazy that we were driving to go see a concert and stuff like that, to go, just go to see one band. And something about this band, that they're like the Grateful Dead in a lot of ways. And I feel like they broke through, like of hearing something and they want to stay connected with it. And when I see people go to concerts like that and they travel all over the place just to go see this one band, I think it's very magical, because if people can do the same thing with bettering themselves or wanting to find God, like, to go to heaven and everything, like, they'll do whatever they can to go to heaven. And when you're at these concerts, like, I like them a lot because there's not a lot of words. It's just a lot of sound. So there's no real manipulation there. So the truth is just always in the sound, I feel like, and you'll find the answers in it. And when I hear Trey, he's just kind of like a mad scientist on the guitar. He's just so fun to listen to, and he's been through a lot, obviously, if you know who he is. And you have to go through a lot to be great, I feel like. And I think, in my opinion, he's the most creative guitar player out there right now. He's definitely a Jedi. And if you know Fish, he's a Jedi. And that actually helped me get closer to God, because I felt something in my head at my first Fish concert and everything. They always said the first Fish concert is always the best. But I feel like every single Fish concert I go to now, it gets better and better and better. And it's just so beautiful and orchestrated of how they do their production and their lights and everything. And it's amazing. And it pretty much what I saw is kind of like a glimpse of heaven, what heaven could be like and everything, of this type of feeling. And it's always there. It never really goes away. It goes away if you do, obviously, a lot of drugs and you just burn serotonin or something like that in your body? I think that's the word. I don't know. Whatever gives you, like, joy. Oh man, I could be completely wrong about that. But just burn yourself out. If you burn yourself out, you're gonna be burned out. It's never gonna. You're gonna be chasing that dragon that you're never gonna find again, because you're not giving yourself the time to, like, 1, recover, 2, take in what you just learned, and 3, just burning yourself out. I think that's what we're doing right now. We're just constantly burning ourselves out with a lot of things, with some information, and that can cause depression and stuff like that, because you want to find that joy again. And there's definitely a joyful sound with Fish, and that's what makes them in my opinion, so great. They're not big into religion or politics of really what they believe in, which I think is great too, because it's not about religion or politics. It's about really the music, and it's all about really coming together. Like when I go to these things, I just constantly listen. Like I am so happy that I get to be there. I can either sit or stand or dancing like a fool, like an antelope running away, running like an antelope. Still never got that song, Trey. I've been to 17 Phish shows. Yeah, 17. My last one I saw was actually in Las Vegas at the Sphere. I charged it. It was really funny. I bought a Breeze ticket. Bought it for like $90 online. I flew there the day of the show. I flew out of here at 9 a.m. Got there at 11 because of the time difference. 11 a.m. And I went straight to the venue pretty much. I waited in line to get a poster, then go inside and have the Sphere experience. And I'm so happy that I was able to do that. And I'm so fortunate to have a friend who was able to give me a ticket. It's always not what you know, so it's always who you know sometimes too. And for knowing that God is on my side, I'm not scared anymore. I'm not fear-mongering. I don't think that people are going to come after me for saying what I really believe, because I believe that that's the reason why Jesus made that sacrifice for us, is so that we can be curious, we can ask questions and find the right answers and know what's right and wrong. And that's pretty much like how I see things and everything. And I don't know, I just think we need to be healthy. We need to stop trying to control people, stop trying to manipulate people, stop being greedy, like really focus on like the major sins and everything like that, and try to better yourself that way. And then get into physics. Like I want to start really getting into it. Like I hopefully one day I get to meet Eric and Brett Weinstein and talk to them and just to pick their brain about a lot of things, Or is it Ben Weinstein? Brett or Ben? I always forget. Sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. But I'm really fortunate that we have a lot of critical thinkers like the Weinsteins, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, Alex Jones, even though he's pretty crazy. Pretty interesting guy. But he's got right morals, though. That's what I see. And I think a lot of these people are really trying to help people and trying to really connect to the root of the cause. But I feel like if we really stop really trying to attack certain people, like that they're the cause of it, but I think we should attack the concepts that are creating like what they created. Because sometimes it's like making Frankenstein. That's like an interesting like a comparison right there. You think you're making like something great, but then you end up creating a monster. And so it's like, what kind of monster do you want to create? You want to create a monster that's going to create life, or you're going to create a monster that's going to destroy life and everything. And I think that's what we're doing right now. I think conflict is the reason why we fall in life. And like trying to be something that we're not is one of the things too. And I just feel like it just takes time to find yourself. I've been looking my whole entire life. I always would ask questions like, who am I? Da da da. And now I know. My name's Jack. And I want to thank everyone if you made it this far in the podcast and you listened to it all, I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to see what can come from this, and really excited to have a lot of people on, because I don't want to just talk by myself all the time on here. It is kind of hard because you're trying to have a conversation with yourself to also try to connect with people who are listening. And I'll definitely try to do this more often. But the end goal is to really talk to more people, find people who are very similar to me, And even some people who are not similar, who are on the complete other side of the galaxy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's like, I want to see all of our worlds collide and see what we can create out of it. And I think that's what the real flower of life is like, everyone's got their own little world. Like, there's the fish world, the Grateful Dead world, the Christianity world, the Muslim world, everything. There's so many different worlds in everyone's head. And I feel like if we can collide it, we can make a very beautiful, beautiful flower. Well, that's just my opinion of what I see from it. So if you have another opinion, I'd like to hear about it. And I'll probably ask you a lot of questions about it too. But I think that's pretty much it, what I want to cover right now. And like I said, I appreciate everyone who came and listened, wherever you are and whoever you are. Like, I'm really excited for what's going to happen next in the future, and hopefully we can really fix all this before it gets too late. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. You all have a great rest of your day. I'm going to do the best I can, and hopefully you guys do the best you can. Bye-bye.